Anyway, still to come, we've got your Destination Rewind at the end of the programme. We're also going to be hearing from Chef Sarah Woods as well. But in just a moment, you're going to be hearing the fabulous Neetal Parekh, who is going to be chatting with Samudra Das Gupta, who's an independent filmmaker, actor and voiceover artist, as well as a former casting director for Yash Raj Films. And when she takes her head out of her phone, she'll see that I'm telling her to come round this way.
Welcome back to BBC Destination on BBC Radio Lancashire. Of course, I've swapped the hot seat with the lovely Race Khan, and it's time for the big interview. I can't tell you how excited I am to speak to this gentleman who is truly the master of all trades. Samudra Das Gupta is an independent filmmaker, actor and voiceover artist, as well as being the former casting director for Yash Raj Films. He runs his own YouTube channel called Mr. C, where he uploads short films, and more recently he's become a restaurateur, opening Kolkata's Keto Cafe, the city's first and only keto diet-based cafe. And to find out more about films, food, and much, much more, I'm pleased to say Samudra joins me now. So good afternoon, I was going to say. Good evening to you and good morning in India, Mr. Das Gupta.
Hi Neetal, good evening and good morning both. Thank you so much for that introduction. My head is going to become huge now. With so much of, praise, so much of praise. Thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome, Samudra. How is Kolkata? How is it? Is it cold? Is it warm?
Well, actually, it's just starting to get warm. But for the past few weeks, we've been really lucky because it's been raining a lot. So so the actual summer has been, it's been delayed. So we are enjoying the rain, and it's quite cool till recently. Now summer is just about starting. So we're like, okay, let's start sweating now.
Well, Samudra, let's go back to your journey. You wear so many hats, and I've had the privilege of working with you, filming with you, and even staying in Kolkata with you, and I've seen your talent evolve. When did you decide that you want to get into this creative medium?
So honestly, my initial aim when I was in school, I would ask and corrected, when I was about to finish school, that time I only had an inclination to acting. So when I finished school, along with my graduation, I did an acting course from ICE, Balaji Films. And soon after, I got one of the offers. I didn't get offers, I got offers. But for whatever reason, I said no, which is why I didn't really go forward with that plan.
Oh, Samudra.
But I always... Yeah.
We seem to be losing you. We're having bits and bobs of you. What we're going to do, we're going to try your line again and see if we can get a clearer line, because we're speaking to you and we're hearing very, very little of you. But before we head to a song, we would love to have you introduce the first song that you've chosen, which is Californication by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And if we can hear you okay, you can introduce or tell me why you've chosen the song.
Well, it's just one of those classics where I connect, a lot of my childhood to that song. And Red Hot Chili Peppers has been one of my favorites. So it's just, initially I had an inclination towards singing as well. So I used to sing this song, I won't sing and embarrass you right now, but I associate it with a lot of my childhood memories. So that's why I like it.
Well, now that we've got you back, I might as well just go back to your creative medium. Samudra, I forgot to mention in our actual introduction that you have actually lived in Lancashire. You attended a school in Lancashire, so you do have that local lad quality to you because you were living here.
Yes.
How was it? Coming from Kolkata and then coming to Calcutta, or I don't know how you pronounce it anymore. Is it Kolkata or Calcutta?
Kolkata.
Okay, so from Kolkata to Preston, and how was that for you? Was it a culture shock, or how? What did you think of the British culture here?
So to be honest, it was not really a very smooth transition, but I did enjoy it a lot. So I came there for around 1 year. And of course, I met you and, found out about the awesome person you are and the awesome work you've been doing. So in that 1 year, the positives were definitely the weather. The weather is amazing. The food is amazing. And some of the people there are amazing. Like, I'm still obsessed, I won't talk too much about food, but the fish and chips is still like deeply entrenched in my memory. So I love it. And the weather is amazing. I still remember St. George's Shopping Centre. I remember my school, Hatton Grammar School, and Coleman Court, where I used to live.
Wow.
So these all are definitely positive takebacks from me. And to be honest, I did face a bit of racism there. So, but that was only from 3-4 people, and that is not from, an entirety. So that was a little difficult to adjust to. Mm-hmm. But besides that, everything was amazing. Food, the weather, everything was very, very welcoming for me.
And how did the experience contribute to you as a content creator or an artist?
It definitely did, because it gave me a different perspective, Till then, I'd been living my entire life in Delhi. So I was born in Kolkata, but from the age of 1 to 10, I was living in Delhi, India. So I only had one perspective of what a certain culture is, what a certain type of ethnicity is. And then when I shifted to UK, I got a culture shock only because it was a completely different ethnicity, a completely different world. But even this world was good, So it was just me getting to a completely different perspective of what life is abroad and what it's like to live abroad. So in that perspective, it gives me a much more rounded perspective of how I should, show different people. Like, for example, if I'm making an independent film, how I should show an Indian living abroad. Now I actually have an idea of that. It won't be purely on the basis of film or research material, textual matter. I've actually been there, so I can, definitely have a real world account of it.
Sure. No, that's and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. I'm going to go to your first song that you've chosen, "Californication" by Red Hot Chili Peppers, which you actually used to sing or hum to before, and we'll come right back to you when we find out more about the actor, the voice artist, and your experience at the most prolific production company in the world. But here is Samudra's first choice, "Californication." And that was "Californication" by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. That's the first song chosen by our guest, Samudra Das Gupta. Samudra, how are we?
Hi there.
Oh, we can hear you.
I'm good.
That's much better. So
much better, thank God.
It is much better. Right, Samudra. So let's go back to, so we've established that you came from Kolkata, you stayed in Preston, Lancashire for a while, and we talked about how your experience in the UK or here in Lancashire has contributed to you as an artist. Do you remember that moment? Do you remember that moment where you realised that I'm really good at this? Like, God, I'm talented. Did you ever have that light bulb moment?
Yes, I did. And actually, you're also connected to it. We did this short film called Naughty Nan, which you would be remembering also.
Yep.
So we did this short film, and I just did it impromptu without thinking too much about it. Shortly after my acting course. And you, of course, also played a pivotal role in it. Yeah. It was a film by Shauna Pal. And soon after, when it, premiered at Warrington Film Festival, and it got that appreciation, that really, reassured me that that was definitely one mark of reassurance for me as an artist, that yes, it is something that I can pursue, and it is something that I have potential in. So that was definitely one mark. Along with that, when I was pursuing acting, like I said, at ICE Balaji Tellson's acting school, that point of time, when I saw myself perform, I saw that it is something which is inborn in me. Of course, I have to improve a lot, but it is innately there. Either you have it innately there, or you don't have it, and you can work on it. So I do have it innately. It's just about realizing your potential and achieving it.
And of course, like the acting school you went to, what was the ultimate kind of goal when you went to acting school? What was the goal that you were working towards, or what would given you satisfaction as an actor?
The goal I was working towards, of course, at that time was to become an actor. But more than that, I think, the late teens, that is 17, 18, the early 20s is all about finding yourself. So I was trying to find myself, and that was the essential purpose. So acting is something, not just acting, anything creative is something where you can find yourself. You might have started off, thinking I'll do this, and then you end up doing something completely different. Like in my case, I thought I'll be an actor and I end up being a cafe owner at the end of the day, who's sampling, like eating food all the time. But at the same time, what's great is that life is not one-dimensional. At the same time, you can be multi-dimensional. So I am primarily a cafe owner, but along with that, I'm also a voiceover artist when I get time. And hopefully, if I get time, I'll also, go back to my acting roots and video editing. I enjoy all of this. So, yeah.
And just to point out, video editing and kind of modulating your voice and filmmaking, and you've learned that all by yourself, haven't you?
Yes, I've learned it all by myself. Video editing was something I just, like many people out there, I just got hold of a video editor and I learned skills myself. And voiceover was something which people sometimes just give me more credit than is due. I think on certain lucky days I have a decent voice. So people, started giving me voiceover opportunities. And like recently I did a voiceover for a television commercial for PC Chandra Jewelers, which is a well-known brand in Kolkata. So for the last 5-6 years, along with my business and before that, along with my job, I've been doing voiceovers consistently. So that is like one thing which I really look forward to.
So some of the all that, you gone to an acting school, you learned all these wonderful skills in terms of editing and becoming a voiceover. It all eventually led you to go to a place where almost every creative artist would like to work for or even be associated with, and you managed to get an opportunity to work for, and just not one of the biggest film production company in the whole of India, of course, Yash Films. How did that happen?
So, one thing which I feel is interesting and I feel good about is that in my entire career, I've only done 2 jobs, and out of that, the only job which I got without any connection and without any links is the job I had got at Yash Films. So basically, I had finished working at a particular company as a trainee analyst, and I was waiting for, I was considering applying for jobs. So at that time, I came across this Instagram post on the YRF casting page where they were looking for casting assistants, like assistant casting directors, you can say. And it's one of the few posts which is available for outsiders. Anybody can apply to it at that point of time. Especially, I think even like freshers were allowed without any casting experience. They could apply for it. So I applied from Kolkata and I actually got I got shortlisted via email. So I actually flew down to give the interview. And then it was actually a very vigorous process of, I think there were 130 to 140 people who had applied, like who were coming and applying for that job. So finally, I think only 4 of us got like shortlisted to selected. Out of that, there's a funny thing. So the other 3 guys' names were like Nishan, Nishant, and Nishan. And here I was Samudra. So automatically I used to stand out a bit because of my name. Because the other 3 names were like almost the same. So I was like, okay, this is something which will work in my favor, So my unconventional name definitely had some plus point. So then 3 of them, like including me and 2 others stayed on at the, at the casting office, and we were working under the main casting director, of course.
Yeah.
And we were assistant casting directors. So I was there for around 6 months.
Fantastic, and you're very blasé about it, but the fact that you got from 100 almost like 140 people to be in the final 4 is no mean feat. What kind of preparation did you have to do for it, and of course you entered the big Yash Raj offices, if you will. How was that experience? Were you overwhelmed? Was it a pinch me moment, or is it what everyone make it out to be?
Well, to be honest, just before that, I was somebody who was going through a low phase in my life, and I was looking for a breakthrough. And when I got this opportunity, I was like, I don't care what happens, but I'm going to give it my full. I'm going to give it my all. And in fact, after giving the initial interview, I remember that I was watching a movie. I was watching a movie inside a theater in Mumbai, and I got a phone call. And often you get like really random phone calls. So I was initially thinking, should I pick up, should I not? But I went outside the hall and it was a call from the, wireless casting office saying that you've been further shortlisted. Please come down. So I was like, thank God I've taken the phone call, otherwise it would have been a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
So then I stayed there. As I said, even after we got shortlisted, there were like 7 to 8 rounds of training. Like they were testing us out, and then we got like the final selection. So it was quite a difficult, challenge to get selected. And even after that, during the 6 months, it was challenging, like any good job. But it was, of course, well worth it because of the brand Yash Raj. That's obviously why I chose to apply and of course do the job. So I found the entire process of casting very, very interesting. And, of course, there's this cliche about the casting couch in Bollywood, but Yash Raj films, it's like clean. There is casting, but there's no couch. So that way it was really clean and it was good. It was interesting.
And it just, before we kind of go on to the next song that you've chosen, I'd love to know, what are the 3 things you learned from the whole experience of working for Yash Raj films?
3 things I learned. One is definitely patience. I think that is something we all need all the time. You have to be patient. You can't be like, okay, just now, I want my full potential to be realized. So one is patience for sure. Second is definitely the process of how there is no limit to good actors, because we often, while casting, Yash Raj already had a huge database of actors. I won't get into details because, of course, it's their private and confidential information, but they already have a huge database of actors. So besides that, having to, find out 40 to 60 actors daily, we had to find out fresh actors, actresses for fresh faces or supporting roles. So it was quite challenging. So secondly, definitely what I learned was the process of casting and sourcing, more importantly, because sourcing is something I can use even in my profession, like business. If I have to source for something, how to, go from one link to the 10th link to find out the actual information. So I used to often, that's how I used to find out the contact details of an actor, actress. I used to from one link, I'd be clicking to the second link, third link, and then contacting somebody, and at the 10th link, I'd get the contact information and contact the respected person. So that was definitely second. So first is patience, second is sourcing, and third would definitely be, I think, self-love, which it's not just because of this job, but definitely self-love, because no matter what, your colleagues will say or what anybody will say, you have to constantly be like, I'm great, I'm rocking, So at least a large part of the time when you don't have a motivator, like in Kolkata, I have a lot of emotional support in terms of my family and friends, but there I didn't have that. So I was like, cool, I'll be my own motivator. So self-motivate in case of, in case you don't have another person over there.
Fantastic. You've chosen a beautiful song, Somewhere Belong by Linkin Park. Why did you choose this song?
I honestly, it might sound a bit lame, but I don't have a particular reason. Like, for me, if I just listen to a piece of music and I like it, I hear it. And Linkin Park has always been one of my favorite bands. So, it's just been somewhere, I've been hearing this for quite some time, and it's been something I've been jamming with my friends with, I've been jamming on with my friends for many years. So it actually connects me with my friends and my friendship.
Well, Samudra, coming up, we're going to be talking about Mr. C, and of course, Kolkata's first and only keto-based cafe, which Samudra is gonna share all his journey with our listeners. This is the second song chosen by Samudra Dasgupta, our guest on the big interview. Welcome back to BBC Radio Lancashire with me, Neetal, Parekh, and Race Khan as well. I was looking at me thinking, actually, this is my show with my name, and you're just jumping in, aren't you, Race? Yeah, a little bit is doing that. You are listening to the Desi Nation show, and on the big interview tonight, we are speaking to the man who wears many, many hats: an independent filmmaker, actor, voiceover artist, restaurateur, YouTube channel owner, the one and only Mr. Samudra Dasgupta. Samudra, I know it's you like to be called Samudra Das. I just love saying Samudra Dasgupta. It sounds very filmy.
You can call me whatever you want. You have that permission, Neetal.
Yay! Oh, I love that. Now, Samudra, you run your own channel called Mr. C, which looks at it's not just entertainment, because you have a lot of kind of social messages, and you also have your own kind of, you've talked about your journey with your weight, and you've been very open about your weight struggles. How has your personal creativity, personal journey, personal emotions reflected in your YouTube channel, Mr. C?
To a large extent, actually. So, thank you for pointing out my YouTube channel, because I'm not currently active on it, but it is something very close to my heart and something I intend to go back to on a regular basis. So, the segment you're particularly talking about is the Smoothie Saturday segment, which used to happen on my YouTube channel, Mr. C. And it was basically about short films or short content, 5 to 10 minutes, which were about socially relevant messages or messages for the millennials, simply relevant or relatable messages. So I often felt like in school, I was watching this interview, and there was this person saying that it's so horrible not to feel included. So I remember in school at one point, like I said, when I faced racism, I didn't feel included simply because I was an Indian. So I touched upon the topic of vitiligo. If you've seen, there's a video called Support Vitiligo on my YouTube channel, Mr. C, which is basically about not discriminating against people who have vitiligo, a certain skin condition. So one of my friends, Madhurema, she has a skin condition called vitiligo, and in a very poetic sort of way, visually, we tried to bring across the message simply, which was even appreciated by RadioBangla.net over here. So, of course, we have a lot of content which is comedy format, which people will love, but this one is my personal favorite. Because basically, I want everybody to feel included. Nobody should feel like they're an outcast or that they don't belong somewhere. So that is one. And secondly, of course, I tried to put across simple messages, like there's a funny video called Don't Litter Streets. Often if you put across a serious message very seriously, people will be like, we already have enough problems in life. Why will we watch something so sad or serious? So there the element of comedy is quite amazing, because you can put across a subtle message or a strong message, but at the same time make people laugh. So in the Don't Litter Streets video, there is this character called Montuza, who's always throwing plastic and blowing his nose and basically just throwing the handkerchief wherever he wants to and basically littering the place. And then how we basically reform him and we be like, don't litter streets, don't use plastic. We've done it in a very comical format, so people really enjoyed that. To the extent that the person who actually played the character of Montuza, who was littering streets, he was a teacher in a school. And the kids, after watching the video, started to call him Montuza. Like he was passing by school and people from bus like, Montuza, Montuza. So I think that is definitely a mark of a short sign of success, that people could relate to these particular topics.
And I remember you got a lot of views. You got a lot of views on each of your videos. But what was really interesting is your talented family, pretty much featured in Mr. C's content. How has your family? How has your family influenced many of your life decisions, but also your creative content?
Oh, absolutely. They've influenced almost every single decision. So what has been great about my family is that they've always been very, very supportive of whatever I do. And whether I chose to, try out acting initially or now be a cafe owner, they've always been supportive. And they have allowed me to make my mistakes, which has been great. So because of that, I've also grown up with a very liberal point of view. I'm a very open-minded person because of my family, especially my mom and her sisters, my grandmom, basically the women in my house, and the men no less. But my mom especially, she's been a very open-minded, chilled-out person. So because of that, they featured largely in my videos. My mom, my aunt, my cousin.
All Durgas in your family, aren't they?
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, it's been wonderful.
And Samudra, after all this, after being an independent filmmaker, actor, voiceover artist, a YouTube channel content creator, you decide to become a restaurateur, and that to Kolkata's first and only keto diet-based cafe. How did that happen, and how did you decide on, which I've seen the menu, a super yummy menu?
Yes, so actually, to be honest, I wanted to start a cafe at the age of 22. So that was also one of my dreams, and that's a dream that I turned into reality. So I feel really, really grateful and thankful for that. But at that point of time, obviously, I wanted to do it with my own earnings. And how much earnings will a 22-year-old have? I was definitely not earning enough at that time to, launch my own cafe. So I took my time. I gradually, initially, of course, I did that stint at Yash Raj Films for 6 months as an assistant casting director. And then I had come back to Kolkata. And my boss, for whom I had worked previously as a trainee analyst, he called me back for this company called Grey Matters Consulting Private Limited. And he completely handed over the creative division of the company to me. He was like, you be the creative head at the age of 24. So that was like really nice of him, Sanjay sir. And while I was working there, I worked there for around 2 to 3 years. I saved up enough, and then I started my cafe. So I was working there as the creative head of that company called Grey Matters, and simultaneously I was also doing freelancing work like voiceovers, video editing. And doing all this, I managed to save up just about enough to launch a small cafe of mine, small at that time, Keto Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
So when I first started it, I basically, I've lived in 3 major metropolitan cities of India, as you might be knowing. One, of course, is Kolkata. Then we have Delhi, where I spent my childhood, and Mumbai, of course.
Yeah.
So each city has a particular speciality. Like Mumbai, of course, is the place of dreams. It's the place to work. It is the Bollywood industry. So that is what is special about it. When it comes to Delhi and Kolkata, Delhi is associated with my childhood, and people there are very encouraging and supportive of each other. Okay, so that's what I love about Delhi. Like at least when I used to be there. And Kolkata, the speciality is for sure food. I think like Kolkata is the best in India when it comes to tasty food. But at the same time, I saw that cities like Delhi and Mumbai, they have quite a lot of cafes which are keto diet based or health based cafes. In comparison, Kolkata people are like foodies. They love to eat. There are of course health conscious people, but Kolkata's speciality is like the Kolkata sweets. Like I won't stereotype and say Rasgulla, Mishti Doi.
I was just going to say Rasgulla.
Kheer Kodam. Of course, we also have other delicacies like fish, mutton kasta, and various delicacies. But Kolkata is no doubt the best in taste. And Delhi also gives close competition. Even Delhi is definitely there. But I thought, why aren't there any healthy food-based cafes in Kolkata? Or there are some, right now there are a few, but at that time there were hardly any. Yeah. And there was not a single cafe which was keto diet-based. So that's what led to this concept. And I launched Keto Cafe. And bit by bit, gradually we kept growing, So as I said a little before, that patience is very important, for whatever we do. So I just stayed patient. So initially I was like, orders are less, fine, they'll come. Then they gradually started increasing and further. So after 1 year, we got felicitated at by the Bengal Chambers of Commerce, which was a huge honor for us as the best newly opened cafe. So that was the first major milestone for Keto Cafe. And it was a real reassurance for us because we literally opened amidst COVID. After the first wave of COVID had happened, we opened up in January 2021. So we were really worried about, how where the dine-ins will come, because it was just post the first COVID wave. But I think luckily there were some amazing patrons who really supported us and still are supporting us, which led to that felicitation. And now, finally, after 2 years, we've expanded our cafe to a 50, including outdoor 60-seater cafe.
Wow.
And we are, planning to expand further and further. And it's definitely because of our amazing patrons. And definitely thanks to me and my team for the patience and just being like, we'll get there.
Well, that's absolutely amazing, Samudra. It's been, I could talk to you for absolutely hours on end, but I do have to bring us to a finish. What an incredible journey, and I can't wait when I come to Kolkata to visit the cafe, and of course go to get some chai at our favorite tea places. Of course, there's lots of tea places in Kolkata, but there is one that's favorite. I'm not going to mention their name, but just before you go, please introduce your final song that you've chosen. And tell us why.
So the final song I'd chosen was O Sanam by Lucky Ali, and there are actually many more Hindi songs, but at that time my mind wasn't clicking, so this was the only one I chose. And it's mainly because I think there's a Mashi lover amidst each of us, or most of us, right? So,
yep, there is.
And I'm one of them. Bollywood thrives on romance, so whether it's a girlfriend that's there right now, a girlfriend who's not there, a lover who's there, who's not there, but we can all connect to that song, and this song instantly changes my mood. It's one of those weird songs which is actually meant to be a sad song, but along with, sometimes creating a mood of sadness, it also brings a really positive feeling, because we're like, wow, what amazing music Bollywood had in the 90s.